Have you ever felt a sharp, stabbing pain in your lower back that made you freeze mid-breath and someone told you, relax, just drink some lemon water or beer? It'll flush the stones right out. I wish it were that simple. Because what if I told you that those so-called home cures for kidney stones, the beer, the olive oil, the gallons of lemon juice could actually make your pain worse, even damage your kidneys in silence while you're trying to heal them? That's the danger millions of Americans fall into every year, trusting the internet instead of real science. I'm Dr. Johnny, a kidney specialist who's seen patients crawl into my clinic in agony after following advice that went viral online. And I'm here to help you break free from those myths before they break your kidneys. Today, I'll expose the 5 most dangerous lies you've been told about kidney stones, and I'll show you what actually helps your body dissolve and prevent them naturally without pain, without confusion, and without false hope. So stay with me till the end, because the truth I'm about to share could save you from your next hospital visit, or even save your kidneys themselves. You've probably heard it. Just drink a few beers, it'll flush the stones out. Sounds comforting, right? Because when you're in pain, you'll cling to anything that promises relief. I had a patient named Robert, 58 years old, who came into my clinic holding his side pale and sweating. He'd followed that exact advice, 6 bottles of beer in one night, hoping the pressure would push the stone through. Instead, he ended up in the ER with his kidney swollen like a blocked garden hose. Here's the truth: beer doesn't dissolve kidney stones. It only fills your bladder. By the time that alcohol is filtered through your body, all that's left is water and waste. And when you already have a stone stuck in the narrow ureter, that tiny tube connecting your kidney and bladder, more liquid doesn't help. It builds pressure behind the blockage, like trying to force water through a pipe filled with concrete. The result: excruciating pain, nausea, even internal damage. Science confirms it. While one small study years ago found beer drinkers were slightly less likely to form stones, no research has ever shown beer can remove them once they exist. The tiny protective effect likely came from hydration, not hops, not alcohol. In fact, alcohol causes dehydration later, which increases stone risk over time. So if anyone online tells you to grab a cold one for your kidneys, remember, the only thing beer helps flush is your common sense. Your kidneys deserve real care, not myths brewed for clicks. But only knowing this isn't enough, because what most people reach for next seems natural and healthy. Yet it can quietly turn your stomach and your kidneys upside down. And that's where the next shocking myth begins. Now, after hearing that beer won't fix the problem, most people swing the other way and think, all right, then I'll just go. Natural lemon water every morning will melt the stones away. Sounds smart, doesn't it? It feels healthy. It looks refreshing on Instagram. And it's been repeated so many times that even doctors' offices get calls asking how much lemon to drink. I once had a patient named Linda, early 60s retired teacher, disciplined about her diet. She squeezed 2 lemons into warm water every single day because she'd read it cleanses the kidneys. At first, she felt great. 6 months later, she came back with stomach pain and heartburn so bad she could barely finish a meal. Her stones hadn't disappeared, they'd actually grown larger. Here's why: yes, lemons contain citrate, a compound that can prevent calcium from bonding with oxalate, one of the main ingredients in kidney stones. But the key word there is prevent, not dissolve. To reach a level of citrate that truly changes your urine chemistry, you'd need to drink the juice of 2 full lemons every single day for months. Studies from 2021 showed that fewer than half of participants could even keep up that routine. The rest dropped out because of nausea, acid reflux, or simply hating the taste. What actually works is far simpler and safer. Talk to your doctor about potassium or sodium citrate supplements, which deliver the same kidney protective benefit without wrecking your stomach lining. Or consider specialized formulas like Moonstone, developed by nephrologists for this very reason. So while lemon juice sounds like nature's medicine, too much of it can twist the line between healing and harm. Moderation is everything, because even natural remedies can turn toxic when misunderstood. But only knowing this isn't enough, because the next myth hides in something millions of people sip every day, thinking it's harmless comfort in a cup. And that quiet habit might be pushing your stone risk higher than you realize. After lemon water comes another internet warning. Stop drinking tea. It's full of oxalate and will destroy your kidneys. For years, that line terrified people. I've met patients who gave up their favorite morning ritual, completely thinking every sip of black tea was like sprinkling sand into their kidneys. But here's the thing, science tells a very different story. A small but fascinating study in 2021 followed 10 healthy men. For 5 days, they drank 1.5 liters of fruit tea, which contains 0 oxalate. Then for another 5 days, they switched to black tea, known for its high oxalate content. You'd expect their urinary oxalate levels to skyrocket, right? Surprisingly, they didn't. The difference was almost non-existent. It suggested that the human body doesn't simply absorb oxalate from tea the way people assume. It's far more complex. That doesn't mean you should guzzle 10 cups a day, but it does mean your favorite brew isn't the villain you were told it was. Moderation, hydration, and variety are key. In fact, for many of my patients, I recommend alternating between black tea, green tea, and herbal blends. The gentle caffeine boost helps keep metabolism active, while the hydration supports the kidneys' natural flushing process. Now here's a story that stuck with me. A middle-aged man named Carl walked into my office clutching a folder of internet printouts. He cut out every single source of tea from his diet, even iced tea in the summer. Yet his stones kept returning. When we tested his urine, his oxalate levels were completely normal. The real culprit, he was eating huge amounts of spinach and almonds, both oxalate powerhouses, while believing tea was the only enemy. So next time someone warns you that tea is poisoning your kidneys, remember it's not about one single drink, it's about your overall balance. A warm cup of tea might even be helping your kidneys, not harming them when part of a mindful diet. But just knowing this isn't enough, because what people cut next in panic is something far more essential, something your body actually needs to prevent stones. And when you get that wrong, the consequences can backfire fast. Now, after hearing that tea might not be the villain, most people make the next big mistake. They start cutting out dairy. I can't count how many times I've heard patients say I stopped drinking milk because my stones were made of calcium. It sounds logical, right? If your stones have calcium, then less calcium means fewer stones. But the human body doesn't work like a simple math equation. In fact, that logic might be quietly setting you up for more pain later. Let me tell you about Kevin. He's 47, works long hours, and decided to go stone-free by avoiding all dairy and calcium-rich foods. For the first few months, he felt proud. No milk, no yogurt, no cheese. But then his follow-up scans showed not 1, but 3 new stones forming. He couldn't believe it. That's when I explained the paradox that shocks most people when you eat less calcium. Your body absorbs more oxalate from food, and that oxalate is what binds with calcium inside the kidneys to form stones. Scientific data backs this up. Multiple studies have proven that a low-calcium diet actually increases stone risk because calcium in the gut plays the role of a trap. It binds with oxalate before it enters your bloodstream, preventing it from ever reaching your kidneys. When you remove that calcium, oxalate is free to flow straight to your urine, and that's where the trouble begins. The real solution isn't to eliminate calcium, but to balance it. Keep moderate portions of low-fat dairy or calcium-rich alternatives in your meals. For those who are lactose-intolerant, almond milk fortified with calcium tofu, set with calcium sulfate, or leafy greens like kale can safely fill the gap. Remember, your kidneys don't need restriction, they need cooperation. So if you've been skipping milk because of fear, it might be time to rewrite that story. Because the truth is, calcium isn't your enemy. It's your body's built-in shield against stone formation. But only knowing this still isn't enough, because there's one more myth that might be the most absurd of all, and yet it's one of the most shared hacks on social media. And if you've ever tried it, you could be putting your kidneys through something far worse than stones themselves. And now we come to the strangest myth of them all, one that exploded across the internet faster than any medical trend I've ever seen. You've probably heard it whispered in wellness groups or slipped into viral TikToks. Drink olive oil, it'll lubricate your urinary tract so the stone slides out smoothly. Sounds creative, doesn't it? Almost poetic, but completely wrong. I had a young man named Ryan tell me he downed half a cup of olive oil before bed because an influencer swore it would grease the pipes. The next morning he wasn't passing stones, he was passing out from the pain. Here's why that happens. Olive oil never reaches your kidneys. It's digested in your stomach and intestines, broken down into fatty acids and absorbed into your bloodstream. It doesn't travel to your ureters or urinary tract at all. So the idea that it can lubricate your stones is pure fantasy. Let's be clear, there's zero scientific evidence that olive oil does anything for kidney stones. In fact, drinking large amounts can cause nausea, diarrhea, and dehydration, which ironically makes kidney stones even harder to pass. It's one of those myths that sounds natural, but behind that comfort word hides real danger. What olive oil can do, however, is support your kidneys in a different way, as part of a Mediterranean-style diet, rich in antioxidants, low in sodium, and balanced in healthy fats. That lifestyle supports overall kidney and heart function, not because of the oil itself, but because of what comes with it: hydration, fiber, fruits, and vegetables. So the next time someone tells you to drink olive oil for your kidneys, remember this simple truth: your urinary tract isn't a rusty pipe, and your body isn't a plumbing system that needs grease. Healing your kidneys takes balance, not gimmicks. But knowing this is still just one piece of the puzzle, because protecting your kidneys long-term requires more than avoiding myths. It's about building a daily rhythm that keeps those stones from ever coming back. And that's exactly what we'll uncover in the final part of this video. You know, if you've stayed with me until now, that already tells me something powerful about you. You're not someone who gives up easily. You're someone who wants to understand your body, not fear it. You're someone who refuses to accept pain as normal. And that mindset, that curiosity, is what separates the people who stay healthy from those who wait until it's too late. Kidney stones aren't just a random curse of nature. They're the body's desperate signal, a cry for balanced hydration and smarter habits. Every time you ignore that dull ache in your side or brush off the fatigue as just age, your kidneys are quietly working overtime, filtering your blood, cleaning your system, and protecting your life. They do it silently every second without complaint, until one day they can't anymore. I've seen people who came to me broken, drained, in pain, terrified that their kidneys were failing, and I've also seen those same people turn it all around. It didn't happen overnight, and it didn't take magic pills or internet hacks. It started with awareness, with understanding, with small, deliberate actions: one glass of water at a time, one smart meal at a time, one medical checkup they finally scheduled. The difference between sickness and strength often lies in the moment you decide to start paying attention. So if you've ever believed that kidney health is out of your control, I'm here to tell you it's not. You can protect them. You can reverse damage. You can stop the next stone before it ever forms. It's not about perfection, it's about progress, about being just a little kinder to your body than you were yesterday. And that's why I make these videos, because real medical knowledge should be accessible, not locked behind fear or jargon. If you learned something new today, if even one myth we discussed saved you from trying something risky or painful, then this conversation has already made a difference. But don't stop here. Save this video so you can come back to it when you need a reminder, and subscribe to this channel right now so you never miss future lessons. Every week I break down the latest kidney research into simple, practical steps that you can actually follow, whether it's lowering your creatinine, improving your GFR, or just learning how to eat and live in a kidney-friendly way. Because here's the truth: your kidneys are small, but their impact is massive. They influence your blood pressure, your energy, even your mood. When they're healthy, you feel it: that lightness in your body, that clarity in your mind, that calmness in your mornings. When they struggle, everything feels heavier, but you have more control than you realize. Every choice, what you eat, what you drink, how much you move, even how you manage stress, all of it feeds directly into your kidney health. So here's my challenge to you tonight. Drink a tall glass of water before bed, not beer, not soda, just pure water. Tomorrow, add one fruit that supports your kidneys, maybe a crisp apple, a handful of blueberries, or a slice of pineapple. And this week, take 5 minutes to look at the sodium content on your favorite snack. Those tiny steps seem small, but they create momentum, and momentum creates change. And when you do come back here and tell me about it in the comments, I read them all. Your stories inspire not just me, but thousands of others who are learning that kidney health is not just about organs, it's about life itself. So before you leave, hit that save button so you can revisit this whenever you need motivation, and subscribe so you can keep learning with me every week. Because knowledge is your strongest medicine, and the more you understand your body, the more power you have to protect it. I'm Dr. Johnny, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for spending this time with me today. You have no idea how many lives can change simply because you chose to stay informed. Stay curious, stay hydrated, and most of all, stay hopeful. Because your kidneys aren't your weakness. They're your quiet strength. Protect them, and they'll protect you right back for the rest of your life.